Oh, yeah. Guys, welcome. We're live. We're in the house. Jazzy Jamie Wood is joining me on this epic solo stream.
Honored
What's
to
up?
be here, Jim.
What's up, Jazzy? Dude, thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, man. This is going to be fun. So my idea moving forward is sort of like doing solo behind the scenes streams of various aspects of my career, 28 years as a freelancer in the business. And I've got some cool ideas, man. But I definitely wanted to start off with the big one, the big book. Defective Comics presents Savage Street Vigilante, as you guys know. Hottest one-shot outlaw comic book of the last year, last 5 years, last decade, possibly. I don't know. But Jamie, dude, can we set the tone of the show right off the bat and do a little intro? Can we show the video that you cut and made for me for the Kickstarter promo to set the tone?
Let's do it.
1986. A masked vigilante stalks the streets of Freak City, seeking final vengeance against his evil rogues gallery. Defective Comics presents Savage Street Vigilante. An over-the-top, creator-owned, superhero parody comic book unlike any other. From fan favorite artistic sensation, Jim Mahfood. 48 pages of pure, glorious destruction. Launching October 1st on Kickstarter.
Killer job on that, Jamie.
That might be the coolest thing I've made to date, Jim.
It's so fun. It's funny because before the stream started, you and I were watching that just to test things out. And I haven't seen that in a while. And both of us were like, this is fucking awesome. This is great.
Like surprised. Like, hey, we did not bad here. This is pretty good.
Like, look at the awesome shit that we're making. And I definitely want to give a shout out to my buddy, Philip Ramirez did the voiceover in that video and just did a fantastic job. And Philip is an incredible vinyl toy artist who lives in Los Angeles and just a hell of a guy and did a great favor for me. Guys, we're going to go in chronological order with how all of this stuff kind of came to be. And so that being said, I want to start with failure. Not this cover by Brian Boland. This is awesome. But Batman Gotham Knights issue 35 from 2003. I was commissioned in 2001 to do a Batman black and white backup story. My buddy Bob Schreck, who helped me start my career, was Batman group editor at the time, hired me to do this story. Brian Azzarello was the writer. I did the story in 2001, but they shelved it. You know, they would just kind of stockpile these Batman black and white backups. And it wasn't published until 2003. But obviously, I was a younger man, an inexperienced man, even with like the cropping. Like, why did I not know this? This is just awkwardly. I don't know. But the reason I'm showing this is there was something in the script where Brian was like, Batman jumps on top of this thug and engulfs him, and limbs are splayed out and flailing, and it's pure chaos. And for me, my skill set at the time, I was like, I guess it's this. And then, guys, 24 years later, I was able to get this shot right. Batman. Yes. I mean, Savage Street Vigilante? Savage Street Vigilante, scary as hell, on top of an opponent, choking him out, looking demonically possessed straight out of hell. So sometimes it takes 24 years to correct the mistakes of youth. But going through this, it was also like, don't be lazy, guys. Like, use photo reference when you can. Like, this is not what a hand holding a gun looks like. Like, just shoot photo reference of yourself and get that right. So I was cocky and confident enough to think, okay, I messed up this first chance doing Batman with DC. Over the next couple of years, they'll give me another shot. That did not happen. That did not happen. But then we get to shitty Dark Knight. This is the brainchild of the fantastic writer-artist Dave Baker, indie comics guy. He coordinated and edited and published this. And this is me and him and Andrew McLean, Buster Moody, Jim Rugg, Matt Allison, Baltimore Rivas, Erwin Papa, Nicole Gao, Alexis Zierett, all of us redrawing the entire 4-issue Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns series. And not making fun of Frank. People were kind of confused, like, are you shitting on Frank Miller? It was like, no, it's a tribute and a remix. So some people chose to, do very faithful adaptations. I redrew Frank's stuff panel by panel, but then kind of like remixed it to where characters are quoting like Wu-Tang songs and stuff like that. And then I even have Jazzy. I've even got like originals. Out of my 10 pages, I've sold 7, but I've got these 10 left. Super fun. I did this entire 10-page thing in probably like 4 or 5 days, like 2 pages a day. But so it's panel by panel, but then you have like the mutants, like this character's like the creep starts fronting and bragging about his record collection. I'm more of a Prince fan myself. After all, he wrote Bat Dance.
Yes, that's so cool.
A Prince symbol on the hat there.
What year was this, Jim? Sorry if I missed that. What year was this?
This was 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
All right, okay.
We're the Sons of the Bat, a powerful new dance crew. We wish to destroy the false prophet, Bob Kane. It's just like me. And then the classic Superman with the nuke page. So putting myself in Frank Miller's shoes, actually redrawing all this incredible classic stuff that he drew was a super fun exercise. And then this is a very surreal thing. Was at home in St. Louis over the holidays at Christmas, going through my younger brother's closet, checking out all of his old CDs, magazines and stuff. He had a folder that had these photocopies in it. I sent him these, I guess, when I was in college. This is a sample packet from Mike Huddleston and I from 1995, 30 years ago. Mike penciling, me inking. Mike's like 22 years old, 21, 22, and I'm like 19 or 20. But look at this character. This is a blueprint of Savage Street Vigilante. Like, this is crazy. It's like a fully armed with knee pads. Like, this stuck in my subconscious. It just blew my mind because I hadn't seen these in a while.
That's so cool to see.
These are really bad photocopies, but at the same time, look at this fucking inking. Look at how tight
sharp
my inking was. And also, everyone credited Jim Lee during the original Batman Hush run for giving Batman the combat boots. Like, it's so brilliant. Jim Lee gave him boots with tread. No, Huddleston was the first one to do that back in 1995. And DC had these in their office. We sent these samples in because we actually did get work from showing these samples to people at DC. And this is so great. This is Katsuhiro Otomo storytelling right here with this sequence. Like, this is so Akira with the face, the manga speed lines, obviously. But Huddleston, 21, 22 years old, drawing this stuff, like, no joke, man. No joke at all.
So good.
Super cool. But this first image really struck me because I was like, oh shit, this is definitely Savage Street Vigilante. So without going on too much of a tangent, this did get us a gig with DC Comics Showcase 95. Mike and I got to do a Legion of Superheroes story. And that was kind of our only mainstream work we did together, written by Bo Smith. But look at that spaceship, man. That's, I mean, for 21 years old, 22, like that's
insane.
I couldn't draw that now. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it cracks me up to see the super tight inking because this is all primarily rapidograph inking, maybe a little bit of brush, but the level of tightness in it is
this the most work you done inking someone else?
Yes, because Mike and I after this wound up doing a couple issues of Rust for Caliber, the black and white indie title. We did like I think 3 issues of that, and then prior to this, around 93 was my freshman year. Mike hired me to come on to do. He was doing a creator-owned self-published book called Wireless, and I inked issues 2 and 3 of that, and it never saw publication just because we all ran out of money. We couldn't even afford to print the books, you know. So
we need to get those pages and print that now.
I need to connect with Mike, and I think a lot of the originals of all that are at in storage at his mom's place. But what happened after this, Mike got hired to become the monthly penciler of Deathstroke the Terminator at DC, and the editor of that title did not bring me along as his inker, and the inker they hired wound up butchering Mike's work every month, and it just became this really weird, sad thing. So I went in my own direction of self-publishing my first Girl Scouts comics and doing that kind of stuff. So that is the lead up to the actual Savage Street Vigilante book, which my idea was I want to make a bootleg Batman comic book, 20 pages, self-publish it, debut it at New York Comic-Con. This was my thoughts last year, about a year ago this time, April of last year. This is what I'm thinking. So I'm figuring out how I'm going to do this. And then it gets to the point where I just said to myself, you know what? I'm just going to go home. I was out one day and I'm like, I'm just going to go home and draw the first page. So aspiring comic book artists, do not do this. There's going to be a lot of things I tell you about this book, and I will let you know, do not do this, because I'm sort of an idiot, but I also have 28 years experience, and I'm a worker that works best sometimes improv style and just jumping headfirst into the pool without checking if there's water or not. So my point is, I just went home one day after thinking about the book and I just drew this image. Like, let me just see if I can get anything cooking with this book. And it's just going to be, we're introduced to Batman. He shows up. He kills off his rogues gallery. I'll figure out an ending to the book. And that's it. That's the 20-page one shot. Self-publish it, print 500 copies. I'll sell 200 at New York Comic Con. I'll go on Cartoonist Kayfabe, sell the rest of them. This book will be perfect for Kayfabe. Ed and Jim will love it. And that'll be the story of my weird little bootleg Batman comic book. So I get going on it, and then give me 1 second. Sorry. And then I produce. Okay, well, what's going to happen after this? So I produce a double-page spread. Let me back my camera up a little bit. There we go. There we go. So I produced a double-page spread, and it's basically okay. The character is injected with venom into his brain, and that's what causes him to go crazy and go on this murderous rampage. We've got a villain that looks familiar. While working on this page, Ed Piskor unexpectedly passes away, right? Like you guys all know the story. Everything becomes completely strange and fucked up and dark and bizarre. So I make a couple more pages of the book, and then I pack up my shit and I leave. I can't be in studio anymore. I can't be alone anymore. I fly to Atlanta. I hang out with Sean Crystal and my boy Ali. Shout out to Ali Murad. Shout out to Sean. Ink Pulp Live, baby. I show them what I have going on with this book, and they flip out, and they're like, this is bigger than a little 500-page produced comic book. So then I go to Pittsburgh after my Atlanta trip, hang out with Jim Rugg, Tom Scioli, Brian Moss. Shout out to all those guys. Power to the panel. I go out there for Ed Piskor's day of celebration, day of remembrance at Phantom of the Attic comic shop. But I get there 3 days beforehand, and I'm digging for comics and hanging out with the boys. I show Jim Rugg specifically what I'm doing, and he's like, no, dude, this is not a bootleg comic book. This is a Kickstarter comic book. And the original working title I had for the book was The Hunger Bat, because his only lines of dialogue throughout the book were going to be, I hunger. Like, I hunger for vengeance, that kind of thing. The injection turns him into a brain dead zombie. So all he can say is, I hunger. And then he's murdering people. And I pitch all this to Jim, and Jim's like, no, the book's not called Hunger Bat. You don't mention the word bat in the book. This book has nothing to do with bats or pre-existing characters. You're now developing your own world and universe for what you're doing. I was like, shit, okay, you're giving me a bunch of new things to think about. So obviously I'm doing Trash Movie Bonanza with Chris Pierce. I'm obsessed with B movies, trash cinema, VHS culture, exploitation. And it just so happens I'm watching around this period of time a movie starring Linda Blair called Savage Streets. And I'm like, holy shit, Savage Street Vigilante? Yeah, Savage Street Vigilante. Okay. So I get together with Scotty Young, and I pitch him the idea of, I've got two titles I'm working with. I got this Savage Street Vigilante thing, and I've also got Defective Comics. Like, what if it was just called Defective Comics? It's a play on Detective Comics, obviously. I powwow with Scotty, and Scotty comes up with the idea. No, dude, here's what the deal is. Your new line of books that you're going to do, your new line of superhero parody comics is called Jim Mahfood's Defective Comics Presents Savage Street Vigilante. And then the next book will be Defective Comics Presents, whatever that's going to be. We all know it's going to be The Arachnid Enforcer. So that's my long-winded origin story of how all of this.
See, just while you were talking about that stuff, Jim, at this point in the process, like how much are you thinking about like the legal troubles that you might have, and how many of these decisions are being affected by that? Or are you still just like trying to make the book, you know what I mean, and not thinking about that stuff so much?
That's a great question. It got to the point of talking to so many different professionals and so many different people about parody and what I can get away with parody that I just went full force into this direction of this is a crazy costumed vigilante and not an established IP. And, when the book starts out, that splash page I showed you, or the double page spread, you see the symbol on his chest. And then check this out. Like for the printed book, I changed that, so I start to get rid of some of the stuff, but I don't know, man, it was kind of a crapshoot. And I know for a fact that people at DC and even the people in the Batman office saw this, because I have so many friends that work with DC that they gave me a pass on this. I'll just say, like, they gave me a pass.
That's cool.
So I thank them for that. What else do I have here? I've got, let me get into some cover stuff real quick before I forget. So Justin Stewart, shout out to Justin, Dr. Pastrami, was my designer and letterer on this project. So he came up with a bunch of different fonts for me for the actual Savage Street Vigilante, based on kind of like horror movie VHS logos. And then I work in a very oh, hell yeah, dude. Justin, love you, buddy. Couldn't have done this without you. Thank you. My first child's name will be Justin Dr. Pastrami Stewart. Because I work backwards in analog, Justin did all these digitally for me and sent them to me. And then I printed them out and put them on my light table and traced them all by hand, because I wanted the final logos to have that hand done look. You know what I mean? So we wound up going with one of these. I believe it's this one. But it's kind of cool to see like some of the horror. I dig this one a lot. It's got the nice kind of like drippy 80s blood.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty fun. And then I've got mock-ups of, for some reason, I found this and I don't know what this was. This was just like a test mock-up we did. It's like, well, that's obviously not going to work. And then once Justin did this mock-up, boom, that's the cover. So I don't know if you guys noticed this, but this cover image is this face from the splash page, just blown up. But because, I'm crazy, I wanted to have a beautiful original art piece for the cover. So I just took this to the copy shop, blew it up to the size of the cover, light boxed it, and then redrew it. I didn't want to cheat and just do a high res blow up of this.
Do you know what I never realized until you showed? See, when you showed the scans of the mock-ups, see if you go back to the one that's like wider, the other one, not the one that got used. See, because of how wide that is, the cape looks like bat wings there. Like I never noticed that, but it like fits the motif there. I never noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, good call. It was just, as soon as I saw this image and then we added the color, and it's funny because Justin Stewart and Sean Crystal were both staying at my place for 4 days. We had like a little artist retreat and we were putting the cover together. I had all of this orange and the logo red. And as soon as those eyes turned white, it was like, oh shit, man, that's the cover. That's definitely the cover. What else we got here? Oh, and then I found these. These are early Defective Comics hand-drawn logos that I was possibly going to use on the cover or back cover.
That's cool.
Just kind of playing around. Got some Arachnid Enforcer stuff there. But guys, speaking of covers, I called in every favor possible. Got the main cover, obviously. Jim Rugg, baby. Cartoonist kayfabe represent. He's partially responsible for all this happening. So I roped him into doing a cover. And Jamie, can we see Jim's preliminary sketches, please? There we go. So Jim sent these to me. Here's the first one with just the body shot, the chainsaw, and a decapitated head.
So cool.
This one's great too. Just the kind of an evil silhouette vibe with the chainsaw. This is the sketch for what became Jim's final. And then that's the original art for the actual final art. Look at I love that metallic 90s arm, the cyborg arm.
That's so cool.
It's so brutal, man. It's great. This and the decision to make the mask, the cowl, just solid black with the goggles, the teeth, and the white stitching. It's perfect. Love it so much, man. Scotty Young variant cover. So fun, so awesome. Scotty colored this and did the paid homage to me with the halftone. Super simple, the Halloween colors. The homeboy Matteo Scalera, which I have the original art for. Let me open that camera up a little bit. So Matteo is so obviously talented and ridiculous. We did an ink pulp live show where Matteo was nice enough to come on, draw with Sean and I to promote the launch of the Kickstarter. And he banged this out in 2 hours, just the full cover.
Insane. And just for anyone watching, you can go back and watch that on the Ink Pulp channel. It's one of the podcast episodes. I can't remember the number, but it's on there.
Yeah. And so Justin added the title, obviously, and the Savage Street logo to that one. But this is the thrill of collaborating and having these ridiculous, talented friends is getting the originals. So I traded, for the original. And we'll show the image. I traded Matteo. It comes up later in the show. And then while we're talking Ink Pulp crew, Sean Crystal with this ridiculous hand-painted image, which there's the original for that. So beautiful.
The colors on that are insane.
And then Sean, you can also see him working on this live. I believe on the same show. We did one with Matteo, and then Sean and I did a solo one where we're also. I basically forced Matteo and Sean into hyping the shit out of this book, and to the point that they were so tired of me. But when you do a Kickstarter, when you put it all out there, when you do all this work, you write a book, you make a book from scratch, you really do kind of have to become a crazy person and just go full force. And we end on the ridiculously epic. We talked about Mike Huddleston earlier, the 1995 samples. 24 years later, he produces this banger for me. Still one of my best friends in the world. A brother from another mother. The ridiculous Savage Street Vigilante pseudo death dealer. which Jamie, I don't know if you remember this, but the original cover that Mike turned in that I sent you that we
I was gonna say
promoted had no markings, no goggles, no spikes on him. So I was terrified when I saw the image because it was just Batman. It was blatantly just Batman. And I knew that this cover was so badass when the whole world would see it, everyone would flip out on social media and say, what Batman project is that? When is DC publishing that? What's going on with this? And then we would get in a bunch of trouble, so I panicked, and I didn't have a character guide drawn for Savage Street Vigilante, but seeing Mike's original cover, it basically made me do a quick little ghetto character guide for what this could be so that we don't get in serious trouble, where he's got the goggles, he's got the stitching, he's got the spikes, which ironically, this is all before Absolute Batman. And then Absolute Batman comes out and he's got spikes and pads. And so it's just weird timing with all this stuff. And, but I think it's all great. Like, I love Absolute Batman. Nick Dragata is killing it. I love his stuff, man.
Was that like a fear for you at the time? Because I remember we spoke about it when we were doing the trailer, because that was like around when that got announced. So was there like a fear for you around that point when Absolute Batman was coming out, that you were worried about like cross-contamination or people confusing the two?
A little bit, but I was so far in the weeds at that point that I just figured, screw it. Let's just keep moving forward. But what's cool, man, is it opened up this idea of like, you can take these characters and do these B-movie versions of them, these street level versions of them. And I always said this not as a diss, but like Absolute Batman is sort of like the PG-13 version of the street brawler, and mine's the hard R version of that.
The real version.
You say real version, Jamie. I'm not gonna.
I'll say it so you don't have to, Jim.
Yeah. Getting into the meat and potatoes of the book, I found this just because I thought it was. Oh, and I guess this doesn't really matter, but this is my quick little ghetto cover layout for Justin. Even though it didn't work out having the logo at the top, it looks better on the bottom. But I'll send these insulting, crappy layouts to Justin as design guides, and he's just like, yeah, I get it. You don't have to send these terrible drawings to me. But it's just to let him know the order, like Defective Comics, my credits, his credit, variant cover credits. Can we get the little logos at the bottom? I always stress this to young cartoonists. We basically say it on our Ink Pulp live show whenever we do mailbag, is get those logos in there, you guys. Get that social media, get that website. Make it plain as day. Repeat it on the back cover. Check out the back cover. Simple, clean. You get the logo. You get my logo, social, website. Simple, you're in, you're out. No one is going to miss your information because you want to lead them into your next body of work, into your, website or whatever you want them to pay attention to. With the design of this, let me show the original art real quick. The bats going in the background here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the original art for the bats.
Oh, that's so cool. I've never seen that before. That's sick.
They're deadly. So
Savage Street Bats.
So I'm really conscious of like the page turn and the cover turn. So with Justin designing this, I was like, when you get the book and you open the book, this is the image that's supposed to blow your mind. That's supposed to blow you away. This is an afterthought. We want the credits, we want the logo, but this can't compete with that. So The artwork here, I pushed way, way, way back by making the bats dark gray, obviously. We could have even done dark gray on the lettering and push this back a little bit more. I think it looks great, but you want this to knock people's socks off when they open the book, the main image.
Yeah.
So getting into the meat of the book, Jamie, can we show pencils on this page, please?
We can indeed. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. There we
You're
go.
good. There we go. So simple. So primitive and simple penciling on this. The pencils on some of the pages get more elaborate, but this one starting off, I knew I was going to go basically straight to ink with all the drawing. And it was an experiment to see if this book would even work out. So super simple on that. And guys, with the inking on that, you see how simple that is. My technique with a lot of this book was toothbrush dipped directly in ink, and I'm going in and just going boom, 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 boom. I'm just doing hits with the ink on the toothbrush to give all the big, bold marking on this. Boom, that's one gesture. And you're in and you're out, no fuss, no muss. It's inked extremely quickly. That dries, and then I go in with the Pilot Parallel and do all the line work. So a page like this, technically I could bang out the inks on this whole page in about an hour to 2 hours. And then I go in with my white media. I'll show you guys. This is my sacred. Oh, shut out, cartoonist kayfabe. This is my sacred cup of brushes and toothbrushes. All of these brushes have their own individual function. This is for red spritzing. This is my favorite one for white. And this is my bad boy for black that I've been using for over a decade. So yeah, a lot of this.
Is that for like textural reasons that you have the different ones?
Yeah, they all kind of do. Yeah, like this one has thicker bristles, and so it does a much fatter spray of deadly ink spritzing.
Cool.
So, let's see here real quick. Okay, showed the cover. There we go. Starting off the narrative, introduced to Savage Street Vigilante. He's been at this for 23 years, guys. He's at his wit's end. He's basically lost his mind from being a crime fighter this long. The double page spread, like I said, introduces the idea of him getting injected by his main arch enemy, his main rival, who we'll just call Crazy Man, Crazy Smiling Man. Oh, how do I do the white out segmented lines? Are you talking about? You're talking about this? That is a whiteout pen, like this one, for example. And I'm barely pressing on it. And I'm just going back and forth real quick on the art and just scratching it in. Super simple. Test it out before you do that on your actual original art. That's a Bill Sienkiewicz technique. The master. And so on the original of this, I forgot that I did this, but I wasn't happy with the brains on this, so I cut and pasted in new brains. I don't know if you guys can notice or see that, but those are paste ups of not being happy with some of that. And another thing that I forgot to mention was hand done zipatone cut on this page, and on this one right here. And then the entire book, all the gray toning is done in Procreate. So I'm scanning all the originals, cleaning them up in Photoshop, Procreate on the gray tones, and then even on some of the halftone, what I would normally do back in the day with the hand cut screens. I knew going into this 48 pages, I'm just not going to be able to cut screens for all the halftone work that I want to do in this book.
Just quickly, Jim, we had a good question from Kev, who said, did the images come first or the story? And I know you kind of touched on that earlier, but it seemed like kind of together at the same time. Was it just working through them both?
Yeah. So good question. This is my, like, I keep a notebook for every book that I do, every project I do. And while I'm working on setting everything up, I just jot down every single idea I have for the book and all the different dialogue scenes that come to mind. It just becomes a notebook of ideas. And then with Savage Street Vigilante, the book, I knew that I had the beginning. He gets injected with bat venom, goes crazy, murders his rogues gallery of villains. And then what happens? And then once I figured out the ending, by the way, spoilers on this whole video. If you guys haven't read the book and you don't want it spoiled, I'm going to spoil the entire book. So that being said, once I figured out the ending where his only solution to solving the problem of crime on planet Earth is to blow up the Earth and murder everyone, and then he rockets into outer space laughing like a madman, realizing that he has a whole galaxy of crime to fight now. That once I knew I had this as the ending, I was like, okay, now we got a book. This is the book. So let me figure out a little bit more of the meat inside of the book, which includes a main police officer, commissioner type character that has a relationship with Savage Street Vigilante. What's that about? And I want to draw some sexy stuff. So sexy scenes involving past loves of his. A little bit about the character's past, revealing that he had a daughter and a son, and an introduction of a super powered character that winds up taking out Savage Street Vigilante. He does get killed in this book, and then he gets brought back to life, obviously. So those are all the beats of the book. And then while I'm working on the pages, while I'm laying everything out, I'm dialoguing and putting all the pieces together. And shit, I just realized that I didn't remember to dig this out. But what I do for every book that I'm working on is I do a complete breakdown layout of the entire book, where I'll do all the pages of the book split as spreads, so I know what's going to happen on page 1, 2, 3, 4, and how the spreads interact with each other and how the page turns interact with each other. Because, this is not movies. This is not moving. This is not animated. Comics are static. So the page turn is where you get some of your momentum and some of your drama, We
had a really good question there, Jim, just before you move on from the notebook stuff. Erwin Papa asked, what percentage of ideas from your notebook made it to the final book? And are there unused ideas in there that will be used later?
Oh, good question. Yeah, I'd say like 95 makes it in, and 5% you just kind of got to cut and edit certain things out and certain dialogue. There's some dialogue that I'll read you guys that didn't make it into one of the sex scenes that I actually thought was pretty funny, but it just didn't just didn't fit. So it got the axe. Maybe it goes into Arachnid Enforcer. Jamie, before I forget, did we have pencils for this double page spread?
I
we
think
show
we
that?
did. There we go.
Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. That's page 2.
The two are separate.
page
I
3.
should have put them together, but
So yeah, that's the extent of so you guys can see it's pretty simple. I mean, my whole style kind of relies on drawing most of this in the ink phase. Thanks, man. So the idea of the Savage Street Vigilante just taking out his rogues gallery with the chainsaw, you know, and all of this just becomes super gonzo and super fun. I like the decision of the Vigilante's lettering is black balloons with white lettering. That's a nice dramatic look. Jimmy, can we show pencils on this one? There we go.
there we go.
Yeah. So it's weird. I don't know if this makes sense, but when I'm penciling, I have my layout. But this might sound really weird, but I have my layout of what's going to happen with all of this. But then instead of like doing the like the doodling and the figuring all it out like that, I try and visualize the way you're seeing the pencils. I just try and get it right, like the first time, where I'm like, okay, this is just the shape of Savage Street Vigilante, and then Joker's head will be, or sorry, Crazy Guy's head will be right here. His body is this shape, and you know it. But again, don't do this, aspiring comic artists. Do that. Actually make the shapes and the forms and figure out, like an adult, what your pages need to look like. A brutal beheading, guys. We're in B-movie territory here. And then this concept, which I can't believe no one ever thought of, but Savage Street Vigilante cuts this character in half, curing him
Genius.
of his duality.
Should we
Was
look
there
at the? Do we have the
pencils?
pencils for this? I think there is. There we go.
Nice. Oh, and then I'll show originals for these guys too. You can see the fun, all the fun.
I love the layout
textural-
on those first two panels so much.
Yeah, just this weird idea of him being imprisoned in the madness of this character. This is also, I don't know if you guys know the artist Wayshak, Jonathan Wayshak, old friend of mine. This is like a very Wayshacky kind of image happening here. We're all definitely looking at each other's work and getting inspiration from each other. Let me go a little wider. There we go. This page is super fun just because this page, out of all the pages in the book, is super minimal, where I most of the pages are black, more black ink than white ink on the pages. So this is kind of weird that this one is so white, but it works with the contrast of everything that's happening here and the design of the tightness of this imagery and then the openness of this and just the split death scene down here. But I love all that great, crazy textural stuff. He's like beyond scarred by acid. He's just sort of like mutating at this point. And then one of the fun things, the cool things about, you know, one advantage of doing digital lettering is you can change things so easily. So we originally had the sleep tight line attached to this balloon. Your duality has been cured, creep. Sleep tight. And when Justin turned this in, I was like, you know what, Justin? Move that sleep tight down to the little bat guy. Just to make it a little weirder, a little more surreal. Were there pencils on this one, Jamie, or no?
No, there wasn't.
Okay. Savage Street Vigilante in motion on the prowl. For poses like this, I'm using those. I've got a bunch of those Japanese pose file photo reference books. I'm sure that you guys know what I'm talking about, but there's crazy dynamic poses in those that you can get a lot out of. We see more of the Rogues Gallery back here, and the aristocratic Birdman, monocle man, rich gangster foul character is the first one to get the chainsaw right through the chest there, and decapitated. I watch way too many 80s horror movies, dude.
Forgive me if this is like a super basic question, Jim, but see, when you're doing like the layouts on these pages, they're so like insane. Like, how much time are you spending working out like each panel versus the whole page, if that makes sense? Do you know what I mean? Does that come like, are you sitting toiling over these individual panels, or do you just have the idea for these whole pages at once?
I do the idea for the whole page. Like, this is a very kind of, I don't know if you guys can even see that. This is a very primitive example of just like laying out all the panels, what happens in each panel. But then when I get to the actual drawing board, that's where I'm figuring out a lot of the actual drawing. And I do use photo reference for most of my drawings, just because, not that I'm copying the photo reference verbatim, but I like having a guide of just, this is the form, this is the shape, you know, of what I'm doing. This brings me to the first rejected page. This page, the first attempt of this was, we're introduced to the foul character and his henchmen. Opus, the penguin from Bloom County, is also in this page for some reason. And then they all just get decapitated. And we see that they've been taken out by Savage Street Vigilante with their heads.
That's so cool.
And we've got Chili Willy and Opus looking on in terror. But this just wasn't working for me. There was just, you know, sometimes I'll just have to do a page, ink it up, and finish it to know that it doesn't work. So this is a much better solution. And also, I wanted to introduce the whole Rogues Gallery and not just have it be focused on one villain at a time. I kind of wanted to go through this scene where it was like, no, let's introduce all of them and then get rid of them fairly quickly. You know, it's like boom, boom, boom. These guys are all getting murdered fairly quickly. And you see the original of this one, the hand cut zip on that cape too.
That's so cool. I was going to say the cape in that rejected page was almost like a Spawn style cape. I looked awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The huge, ridiculous, oversized. But it's fun, man. Like this is where digital comes in fun. It comes in a really positive way. It's like having the option to then take this, you know, and add the gray tones to make things pop, add the zip to the figure, you know, just making it sing in kind of an extra way. We get I don't even know how to describe these characters without saying their names. Maybe I should just say their stupid names, but basically you get steroid Banish type guy and a trickster Riddler type guy and a scarecrow type guy getting their shots in on Savage Street Vigilante. And we get a nice knee to the face and scarecrow fear monster guy just being brutally torn in half. Jesus, no, separation anxiety. Not cool. Not cool. And there's the original for that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I wanted all the originals to... It's an obvious thing to say, but I wanted all the originals to look really great. So if I redraw something, I just redraw the whole page. Kind of a weird way to do it, but it's probably just like a OCD kind of thing.
How often was that happening throughout the book? Like, how many times did you have to redraw entire pages?
There's 5 or 6. And now that you said that, I just realized the previous page I showed, this was the first attempt on that. So something wasn't quite working with...
I was going to say, do you know what it was? Can you remember what you had the problem with?
It, well, yeah, the flow and the drawing up here of Riddler and it looked like I went much bigger on this page with this bottom panel showing more off.
Mm-hmm.
And his arms and hands are probably too big here. So yeah, man, it's just sometimes I'll be working on a page and at this stage I'll just say, no, it's just not working. I just have to redo it. And that just happens sometimes. Like that, to me, that just comes with making art, comes with making drawings, comes with making comic book pages. Kicked in the face. Really happy with this panel. Him just coming out of the darkness and being scary as hell. Like this is what the character is to me and always meant to me from the source material is he's this psycho scary guy coming out of the darkness for you, you know. You ain't shit, you fucking nut job. You hear me? Oh, he says, do you smell what I smell, scum? Smells like gasoline and fresh brains. This is the stuff that like people will be like, is there something wrong with you? But it's just fun. It's just fun to draw scenes of brutal violence. It's like you just exercise it out of yourself. Like it gets rid of daily frustration or stress and anxiety, or I'm not a violent person. I don't want violence in my life. I don't want to get in fights with people, but it's just kind of fun to be able to exercise it on paper as like silly cartoon drawings. I just enjoy that. Maybe I'm immature, but I grew up with 80s movies, man. And we were just raised with gore and violence and Rambo and ninjas and RoboCop and Freddy and Jason. And it just stuck with Gen X. I'm quintessential Gen X, and that's just in our DNA, I guess. So yeah, chainsaw gets shot out of his hand. He dives, and we get that overpowering shot that I, got wrong 24 years ago in Batman Black and White.
Can I ask, now that you've brought that up again, was that an intentional like homage to that, or was it just you needed that shot again?
Oh yeah. No, I wanted to intentionally be like, let me. Brian Azzarello put this idea in my mind of he jumps and scares the living shit out of this character and overpowers him, and me just getting it so wrong with my limited skill set. Back then. Oh, the original for that. Love doing the after the whole page is done. love going in with that white and adding the white spritzing and the white kind of glow highlight effects. I just think that enhances things a bit. It just gives it that cool gritty glow.
See that glow you're talking about? Is that just like finger rubbing?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
just you
that's
rubbing that?
that's white out. That's still white, and I just kind of dab it, and I'll do that on Ink Pulp Live sometimes,
Mhm.
where you just work with the medium while it's still wet, and there's no guarantee for how that's going to look, by the way, when you do that. So, like I said, you either practice that or don't start off doing that on your final artwork. And then you get mad at me and you say, Jim showed me how to do that. And now I just ruined this page that I've spent 10 hours working on. This is a blatant Bisley swipe, I'd go as far as saying, or homage of him with the tattered cape, just walking away from the dead corpses in the alleyway. And then he gets in his like Rat Fink style hot rod. When I was a kid growing up, there was a series of trading cards called Odd Rods. And I think the other one was Weird Wheels. And it was some of the same guys that painted for Mad Magazine and Creepy and Eerie and possibly Garbage Pail Kids. But they were trading cards that were painted that had these fantastic tricked out hot rods, and big monsters would be coming out of the top driving the machines. And it just made a huge impression on me when I was a little kid. They were so cool when I could find them. So he's just in this turbocharged vigilante mobile and goes to a cold storage facility where he breaks through a window like a psycho. Again, terrifying, scary character, hopped up on goofballs and venom in his brain. You can see the original on that one. This stuff is like I used to hate drawing backgrounds, which is a quintessential thing of comic book making. And this kind of stuff now I get super excited to draw to like, well, you got to show the setup. You got to do an establishing shot of where he's going. Like, how do you pull that off? Cold storage sign makes it pretty obvious. Add a little truck in there that also says ice. You got the snow motif going along the roof. Pretty obvious what themed villain he's going to beat the shit out of and murder, right? And it's frozen cryo laser man.
That just made me think, Jim. I don't know if you've ever answered this before, but like during the idea stage of this project, was there ever a stage where you were going to have it in color, or was it always going to be black and white?
No, always black and white for this one. Yeah, because like the look and feel of this from the beginning, I wanted it to look like an 80s independent underground comic book.
Oh, okay.
This is a weird storytelling decision, but I think it works. But this is breaking the rules with knowing how to break the rules, which is Vigilante's on the left, Freeze on the right, the camera reverses, and we get him shooting in the opposite direction he's established in. And we get the Vigilante dodging the blast. The blasts are coming through him and he's still in the same position. But here's my defense. The reason why this works is when we go to panel 2, you know that this character shooting is that character. You know, your brain and your eye knows what's going on. And in the third panel, you know that this is the Vigilante with the cape ducking down and having the blast go through him. So this is incorrect. But again, don't always follow my rules, but know when to break the rules. And no one called me out on this. Everyone I sent this to proofread the book and stuff. No one, if Jim Rugg didn't call me out on this, I'll put it this way. If Jim Rugg didn't call me out on this, or Sean didn't call me out on this, it's okay. It's okay. Really dig this panel, far away shot of him kicking the helmet and the helmet breaking open, the Freon and the frozenness leaking out. More B-movie 80s horror, you guys. He fucking punches through him to tear out his heart. And
so good.
This is a super fun thing because I know after talking to Ed Piskor when he was working on Red Room, one of the challenging things about drawing brutal, gruesome, anatomy-related violence is you have to figure out how to deconstruct anatomy where it's not just a side shot of like an arm going through someone. Like, if you just have a person, this is a person, and if you just have something going in them, a fist, and this is just blood, that's fine. That's one way to do that. They're shocked. That's like horror 101. But to actually have the camera in front and in perspective be like, how would that look? The arm and the forearm and the hand holding the heart, bursting through with entrails, blood. How does that all work? That shit is fun and weird and bizarre to figure out, but it's almost like you have to become a biologist or something. And then we get a great
I was going to say, for a shot like that, is there more like you were talking about how like the layouts and stuff for you were pretty loose? Was there more of a thought in a panel like that?
Yes, this took me a while to figure out, and I'm trying to remember where my layouts are. There's a couple of things I forgot for the show, but we're going to be okay. You guys trust me. We will have plenty of stuff to go through here, but this is also me going probably through Google and Google imaging like horror movie scenes of chest bursts and things going through people, and we get the nice shot here of him with the heart still and the blood. And so since this is just black and white with gray tone, I love working out all this graphic kind of language, which adds to the storytelling of he's dead on the ground. We get that. The helmet's broken open. We got the blood. We got our hero. We got the smoke. We got the bats. Graphically, what's going on. Let me show the original for this. Fun stuff, man. And, some of this gets a little lost in the printing, although this book printed out really nice. Mixum did a really good job with this, but definitely more, white spritzing on the original art here. But guys, I'm telling you, we live in a golden era of modern day printing where this stuff comes out looking really good. Like you get proofs of everything, approve everything, before you have a final print run made. But modern day printing, man. So he's defeated basically the whole rogues gallery at this point. We take a moment to breathe and to get surreal with things. And a big storytelling decision for me in this book was I wanted the book to read like almost a documentary where you're pulled far away from Savage Street Vigilante and you're observing him and his actions and his life and his history through a cloudy lens, and you don't really get to know the character. And the character does not have an arc in the book. The character starts the book and ends the book the same way. He does not change because he's a doomed character. He's a caricature of the worst case scenario of the Cape Crusader, which is falling victim to this endless battle, this endless quest that's cost him everything. You know what I mean? So that's a conscious decision. And the fun thing is I'm flipping that on its head for Arachnid Enforcer, because with Arachnid Enforcer, I'm doing the opposite, where you're on the streets with Arachnid Enforcer and his partner, Gangsta Boogie, and you're with them and you're on the adventure with them, because it's a spoof of, a famous arachnid superhero. And those comics are based on, no, you are the character. You're relating to his problems, his woes, his financial issues. So these are things that I didn't really realize when I first started developing the project. And then as I was writing, as I was making notes, they started to manifest themselves. And these kind of pages help with that, where we step back and it's like a case of mistaken identity, a confusion of the id. What does this mean? It's like we're inside his head and he doesn't even really know who he is. And I'll be honest, it's like these pages are just excuses for me to draw some cool shit, to make some interesting, strange imagery. And you guys know over the last year or so, I've been really getting into these ballpoint pen sketchbook exercises. And in those sketchbooks, I started doing these things where I was drawing like fake covers to comic books that don't exist and horror magazines that don't exist. So I kind of took that idea and did this page as well, where it's like a situation of pop culture surrealism and international flavor of notoriety. Like, the idea is the legend of Savage Street Vigilante has infiltrated pop culture in this world, and people are doing weird, bizarre versions of him, even in other countries like Japan. So let me show originals for these real quick.
We've got the pencils for both of these pages as well, I think.
Oh, okay. Can we show those off?
Let's see.
Oh, there we go. Nice. And yeah. And you can see, look at the character on the Defective Comics cover. And then Jamie, can I get the camera back? Look at what he turns into. A famous cereal icon. So here's another one that I don't know why, but it took like 3 attempts to get this page right. So it started off with the layout that you guys see, the Defective Comics. In this, he's some sort of almost like, it looks like a Mexican conquistador bat urban legend or something. And then we have a bat drawing, the lurid cover, and the Godzilla. But for some reason, this just was not working. This bat was not working. Decided to start over from scratch. We get a second attempt. The bat changes to this little sprite character. You guys all know what I'm talking about. But I'm still not getting this character correct. And there's also something weird happening where his arm and hand are probably hidden in here somewhere, but then this looks like this arm is just kind of missing. So it just, when your eye knows that something's wrong, it just doesn't work. And I don't know why I do this to myself, but I just fully will pencil and ink a page. And then the next day I'll wake up and be like, no, third time's a charm, and changing him into this character made all the difference and really made the whole thing come together, I think. And, you know, I got to do Godzilla covers. This is kind of a fun little Godzilla riff there. This stuff getting a little bit more, we don't reveal much, but what little we reveal, lonely nights in his cave. The loyal servant is gone. You know, he probably had a butler of some sort. All of his soldiers are deceased. You see a cape and a mask and a glass tube. That kind of looks familiar, right? Occasional visits from ghosts of the past who share in his despair. So these are, you know, ex-lovers or who knows.
We've got pencils for that page as well.
Oh, cool. Oh, there we go.
Right there.
Yeah, and look at the in the upper right, look at that bat demonic silhouette character. And then if you go and go back real quick, Jamie, sorry. And he's holding a heart. And then if you check out the final version here, no need for that heart. When in doubt, black it out. Looks way better with just the black field happening here. A scary clawed hand, and then really working in that skull and defining the shape of what is this, you know, brutal looking creature up here. To me, this is like the inner demon of Street Vigilante that just torments him like every day, and it keeps him going. But it's like, this is a fucking terrifying inner spirit of him that just keeps him moving. It's like, how miserable would you be if that was like your spirit animal or whatever? This is a fun concept of like, he had a daughter, he had a little mutated son, and they both died in the line of duty. You know, they were casualties of this unending war that he's decided to wage. Throwing a dinosaur, a bomb, Bat Boy from Weekly World News, a comic book box for the 50-cent dollar bin divers out there. Love you guys. You know who you are. One idea I had after doing this page was the daughter and the son at some point, they need their own little one-shot mini comic, I think. Like, what's the story of these two characters? Like, that's something that I think could happen at some point. Or even, what if I wrote that and I got some other artist to draw that, you know? Getting into some dialogue. This is, where was, I had a, so just laying that out, like Hunter Thompson, Raoul Duke interviews the vigilante. This is like my first attempt at the dialogue for that page. And then just a quick little sketch of like, okay, remember that this is the scene, you know? And then I'll actually type out a script for myself with the beats of the dialogue. I make brackets of which of the panel breakdown of how it all breaks down into panels. And then this is just my little gangster thumbnail of panel 1, the two of them together. Panel 2, silhouette. 3, Hunter. 4, vigilante. 5, Hunter. So on and so forth. So I don't really, in the layouts, I don't really need to know the specific individual drawings. I just need to know what character is where, you know, and I figured that stuff out later. Oh, and then this is, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, this style of like working it out and laying it out, is this like new to the Savage Street Vigilante books, or have you worked this way on like other projects of your own stuff?
This is my normal technique for writing and drawing my own comics. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every project is sort of slightly different, but this is kind of a go-to. And I'll even, before I do the type script, I'll sit down and actually did this when I was in Maui during Maui Comic-Con, and I was hanging out with Jim Rugg and Alika Seki, and shout out to all those guys. Oh, here we go. I'll after all the art's done and I've got my notes, I'll look at all the pages in front of me on my iPad, and I'll go through and I'll handwrite all the dialogue to the panels. And then when I get home, I sit down at the computer and officially type it out, because the action of translating this into TypeScript, it just makes it feel official. It just makes it feel like, okay, this is a comic book script now that I'm writing for myself. And then I do my breakdown, and same thing with this page. It's like, don't really need to know the detailed pencils yet on this page, but establishing shot, back view of this character, commissioner characters in here, close up of the commish, close up of commish, the other guy, boom, 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 back and forth. What dialogue goes in what panels. But yeah, and this is another challenge too when you're doing your own comics. How do you make dialogue scenes look interesting? You know, it's really setting the mood and the pacing. And I think some of the textural stuff that I'm getting into here adds to it. You know, it's like he's lighting his cigar. It's lighting up the mood of this panel. We get a nice moody close up. The intensity there, blowing the smoke out, intense close up on the cop talking to him, silhouettes, you know. No one called this out, by the way. You guys aren't paying attention, but in this panel, in the background, we have Gonzo from the Muppets, Ambush Bug being taken to the ground by a cop, and the reporter character from the Muppet Show. So no one, you guys missed this.
I was going to say, before you keep
ahead,
going, we've
Jimmy.
got the pencils for that page as well. I'll pull them up.
Oh, nice. There we go. There we go. Yeah. There we go. That's awesome. Oh, and speaking of the page turn, here's the example. Release the big guy. He's our only option at this point. Yes, sir. Boom. You get the page turn. You get the reveal of who the big guy is. The dude who's going to take out Savage Street Vigilante. And before I go further, I'll just show real quick originals on all of these. Pretty cool to see, like, just the straight up black and white line work, because you can see that I knocked this back in Procreate, so that becomes dark gray. That's the stark black and white. The idea, I was talking to Jamie before the show, the idea possibly would be to do a gallery show where I actually just hang all this original art and I get to show people the entire book, and it's just on walls in sequential order. Not that I'm so pretentious. I'm saying, like, my original art deserves to be in a gallery for this project, but I think specifically seeing all this together.
Can I just say as well, I didn't call it out at the time because I didn't know if you were going to mention it, but Amado commented exactly that. You could have a gallery exhibit with all these originals. Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's definitely an idea, man. I would love to do that. Oh, Jamie, was there pencils on this guy?
There was indeed.
There we go. Look at that bulge in his trousers. He's a hero. He's a real hero. So the other funny thing with this page is I originally had the actual Superman symbol on the chest, and I was like, it's too close. I can't do that. So this is actually the OMAC symbol. Shout out to Jack Kirby, but the eyeball on the chest from Kirby's wonderful, surreal 70s book he did at DC Comics. And, you know, the superpowered half Superman, super cyborg waste little time taking out Savage Street Vigilante, you know, knocks him around, punches through his spine and murders him. And literally death shows up to let us know, you know, if this isn't obvious what's happening. Death literally shows up and is towering over him. But
just before we go too far, we had pencils for the next page as well.
Oh, nice. Thanks, man. Yeah. And was there pencils for? Do we have this?
Let me check so I don't reveal it too quickly. There was.
Oh, there we go. Okay, nice. And I believe death is the last one. There we go.
There we go.
Fun stuff to draw, guys. This page, this sequence is like a tribute to Keith Giffen, early 90s Trencher comics and Lobo Infanticide, you know, stuff like this where you just have big muscle guys like punching through each other. Super fun to draw and pretty effective, I think, if done right. Originals on these. The vertebrae, guys, very important to get that right. Very important. And, you know, this always works. A close-up of a screaming, frenzied Gonzo-style character. Shoot a close-up of that. Get some of that white spatter in there. You're rocking and rolling. And the creme de la creme, death oversees our fallen hero. I even had originally like tombstones laid out, small ones in this area. And again, when in doubt, black it out, get rid of those. You don't need it. And if this isn't the most obvious, you know, design decision in the world, let me get, you know, your eye goes down the scepter, right, into Savage Street Vigilante. So the design element of this page, and even the eyes are literally looking down where you, the viewer, are supposed to be looking. So all of this is meant to make you go like this into our character, which literally has a pool of blood forming into a skull dripping off the page. Jamie, since our hero is dead and fallen, can we take a break from the book real quick and run the Kickstarter teaser video from our brilliant friend, Punker Mike?
1986. A masked vigilante stalks the streets of Freak City, seeking final vengeance against his evil rogues gallery. Defective Comics presents Savage Street Vigilante, an over-the-top, creator-owned superhero parody comic book unlike any other. From fan favorite artistic sensation, Jim Mahfood. 48 pages of pure, glorious destruction. Launching October 1st on Kickstarter.
God damn, I love Punker Mike. How incredible is that? Do you remember, I mean, when he turned that in, man, I lost my mind. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I watched it like 10 times in a row. I just kept hitting play on it. Like, I can't believe that he made this for me, and I owe him so huge for that, you know? So, and also if you guys, that's on my YouTube page that we're on right now, go through my archives. But if you rewatch that, at the end of the video where the cover of the book splats up against the wall. There's like a poster for Trash Movie Bonanza, wheat pasted on the wall. There's a little food one, graffiti tag on the wall. You know, he just went to so much effort, man. Like that's the type of people I want to work with. That's the type of people I want to collaborate with. People that don't fuck around, that are completely passionate. That's what I got with Justin Stewart, with Rostin Meyer, my homeboy, who helped me build the entire Kickstarter, did all the fulfillment. Jazzy Jamie Wood on edits with doing our shows, has never missed a beat. Sean Crystal, Matteo Scalera helping me promote the shit out of this. All my homeboys who did the variant covers, Scotty, Jim Rugg, Mike Huddleston. You want to surround yourself. What's that famous line from the rap song? Make sure whatever you do, you got the super dope crew. You got to have a super dope crew that helps you with this shit.
Yeah.
Because I always say like, yeah, I make my own stuff. I write and draw my own comics. I do all my own shit, but I'm actually not doing all my own shit. I have all these people that are helping me facilitate it. But what I mean is it's my vision. It's my brand, you know? So, oh shit, King Gum, my boy Dave Crosland in the chat. What up, buddy? Thanks for joining us, man. Speaking of super dope crew.
Just
Back
quickly,
to the
Jim,
book.
before you go on,
Sure.
sorry, I just wanted to take a quick second to say that just when you mentioned that was on your channel as well, just to remind everyone to subscribe to this channel, because we'll be doing other videos like this and other live streams to come for other stuff as well.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Please like and subscribe. And when this show's over, if you guys get a chance sometime this weekend or whatever to go through this channel, there's videos dating back like 10 years and promo videos we shot when I lived in LA. And when I worked on the Marijuana Man book with Ziggy Marley, there's like behind the scenes with that. So there's some good shit on the channel. Moving forward with the book, we have a dead hero whose spirit is leaving his body, and an Amazonian princess rescues him, and a cyborg law enforcement officer is introduced into the story. And I have a first attempt at this page that I will show off. You know, it's funny to see this because it's like, yes, something just isn't quite working. And what it is, you know, this was just drawn too large, him in this encasement, and all of this stuff down here, just needed more room to breathe. You know, it's weird. It's just sometimes I just have to like lay things out and to realize that it's wrong, you know. But also it became super fun, and this is like feeds the graphomania side of me with drawing, where just drawing all this crazy tech and all these crazy shapes, it becomes like a fun hypnotic thing to do, where to me this is a fun afternoon spent doing this stuff. And I know for a fact I had some old like horror movies playing while I'm doing all this stuff. It kind of becomes like you can put yourself on autopilot and you're just making these lines once you have it penciled out, once you have the shapes, and that just becomes pure fun, you know.
Just quickly, Jim, before you move on, see on that failed page, can you give us a close-up on that? Because we couldn't really see the pencils.
Oh, sure.
I just want to make sure that shows up better. There's a little better. Oh yeah, you can see it more there.
So light. I mean, it's even really light on the original art. So it you know, it's let me go back just a little. But yeah, it's even to my eye, man, it's pretty light. But you get like the general shapes of things. I didn't ask you this, dude, but like, since this isn't monetized, are we worried about like, I can just show the nudity, right? Like, do we care?
I say show it, Jim.
This is Savage Street Vigilante. Fuck it. We have our first romantic liaison, and Savage Street Vigilante is shirtless and has the mom and dad tattoos on his masculine macho chest here. And some crazy sex talk from our Amazonian character. And the skull with the candle, so kinky. Like, this is just the fun shit that you can do with this weird stuff.
Is this the scene that you said you had rejected sex scene dialogue from?
Oh, yes. That's the original on that. Yeah, let me see if I can find that real quick. Or was it? It might have been the next page, but if I can find it. Here we go. Yes. So originally, Savage Street Vigilante was going to be unmasked, and she was going to be saying, "Your wonderful mullet, so thick, so powerful. It smells so good." And he was going to say, "It's imported lavender conditioner, you dumb bitch." And she says, "I love it when you degrade me." So wrong. So wrong. Good thing everyone here knows that this work is not PC. So no one's offended, right? It's all good. We get little vigilante cupids and him sprouting multiple eyes and tendrils coming out to the point where he basically hypnotizes and possesses and murders our Amazonian character. This is inspired by the art of Shintaro Keigo, if I'm saying that correctly, who's a brilliant Japanese artist that does, I'm sure you guys have seen it, you probably following him on Instagram, but he does drawings of like bodies deconstructing and being pulled apart and entrails coming out of people. And I saw Japan Book Hunter. I think Sean was in here for a minute, but Sean can educate you guys on his work. And I'll show. Well, I'll finish this page, and then we have, another corpse, the robot. I'd buy that for $1. Thank you for your cooperation. Good night. These are quotes, obviously, from the famous '80s movie. So, with design as well, you guys, with this kind of stuff, I'm making the decision to take these background elements and turn them dark gray so that they're pushed back into the background. And then same for this, that's almost a reversal where I want that your eye goes down here, right? Follows the blood into our characters that way. And I want them to be the focus. So the foreground elements can actually be turned into dark gray because they're just not as important as what is going on here. Let me show originals. You can see the magic, the disturbing magic. You get Street Vigilante's bare butt. That one's for the ladies. or gay dudes, like whatever you're.
Whoever wants to see it.
Whoever loves butts, just anybody can appreciate, Next, double page spread. We encounter plant woman, and this is another, romantic sexual liaison. I was particularly happy with her sidekick, like henchman character, this little creature back here. And Savage Street Vigilante shows up and they get busy. I don't know how else to describe what's going on here, but it's fun to use the elements of a character, like the plants, for example, vines, as design elements uniting the different aspects of the double page spread. That's just pure fun doing that kind of stuff, you know. Oh, let me show. You guys ready for this? Boom.
That's so cool.
In pure black and white, original art flavor. Original, you know, for a spread like this, what does that go for, Jamie? What do you think? $10,000? 15,000? 15,000? On the black market, 15,000. Lewd acts are being performed here, but I'm very proud of this shot. This was like, I don't even know how to say this, but this was like a photo referenced, like, I'll just end it there, but you know, pretty happy with the anatomy happening here. She gets choked out, you know, what else can you say? The cape is creating the blackness of everything that's happening here. Always use that as a design element. That's a classic trope of this character and other characters like Spawn or, you know, what, something like that, where you use their actual outfit to create shape and background. We get an intro to our final girl, and she literally is a final girl because it's kind of not cleared up whether she survives or not. Little 60s style cat house going on here, and she actually has a talking cat assistant that's warning her of an intruder coming in. And we see that she is a diamond thief girl. Let me show.
Just where you're getting that, Jim. There's a lot of requests in the comments for maybe an oversized hardcover of this book. Is there any plans for any other editions of it?
Yeah, I would love to do that. Just a straight up artist edition, right? Of everything I'm showing. I mean, yeah, that's just me figuring out the printing costs of that and the demand of that. I mean, that would be something that you would almost limit to like 50 to 100 copies. I don't know what the audience would be
right now.
You know, I appreciate you guys bringing it up. I think it would sell probably well at my table at conventions if people actually got to see, you know, what the scope of it. But I would love that, you guys. That would be awesome. Get that white spritzing in there. Let's keep moving. Oh, this is a very gratuitous passion scene here. Again, though, pretty happy with the design of all of this. Like, one thing just kind of leads into another. We have one of the best dialogue moments of the entire book, which is, "Fuck me, yes. Devour me like you're at a shitty Chinese buffet that's going out of business, you cheap bastard."
We had someone comment about that line earlier on in the chat, saying that was the most they've laughed at a line. I can't remember who it was. Apologies.
Preposterous. That's when you, like, your day is like coming up with the dialogue for a scene like this, and you realize, oh, this is like my job, basically. This is what I get to do with my time. How wild is that? And then we see, you know, the aftermath of this.
I found the comment there from Owen.
Oh, Owen, thank you so much, man. Good to see you here. Thank you. I laughed while I was writing it. And I like this kabuki kind of cat guy chilling right here. What's his story, Jamie? What's his backstory?
I think we need a full one shot to find out.
He gets his own mini comic. And, you know, I put this in because Sean's daughter, Zoe, she's young, and she told me all the young kids are back into Garfield these days. So we get a barfing Garfield accompanying this crazy shot of the vigilante, and she's asking him kind of like, I'm your favorite, you'll let me live, right? And he's like, for now, but no one lives forever, my pet. So does he know that she's going to die in the planet's destruction, or does she actually get away? There's a couple loose ends here. And if you guys remember the terrible Batman black and white art I showed at the beginning of the stream that I drew 24 years ago, when I see a drawing like this, I'm particularly proud of the evolution of my knowledge of drawing, anatomy, how planes and dimensions on a face would work, how lighting works. And guys, come on, look at those teeth. Like not too shabby there. Not too shabby on those teeth. Oh, let me show. We got a Sexy Time original. Oh, and I forgot to point out the cat versus the bat down here as part of the
That's so good. I never noticed that.
Of the page. Oh yeah, who doesn't want to own this original page, guys? Come on. $12,000 and it can be yours. Okay, final confrontation between Vigilante and his estranged cop buddy. We don't really go too much in the backstory. We just know that they had a history. Establish the scene with the symbol in the sky. We all know what this is. Pull back. Both characters in profile on rooftops. We get the nice dramatic city shot. For me, it doesn't really matter how well drawn these buildings are. You know these are buildings. You got a water tower. It matters, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? He says, you look different. The more evil I eliminate, the stronger I get, the better I get. And he's like, I see. You know, he knows that he's crazy. He knows that he's unhinged and that things are probably not going to turn out well here. So if you're going to draw a character smoking a cigar, make that the most dramatic, badass shot that you can, with eyes in shadow, cast shadows going down from the nose. We get the smoke as a design element. We get the smoke right here with the cape kind of pushing him out. We get the dramatic sunken eyes. Pretty happy with that. You know, you don't even really need to show the rest of his face. We know it's not the vigilante because we got the hair, the finger, a part of the cigar, smoke. We know what's going on. We get the back and forth between the two characters. Everything's the same except storytelling wise, he pulls a gun. That's his big mistake. Pig. And he just crushes his skull. That's the end of our main cop character. Another, you know, this is also like me looking at lots of Tim Vigil artwork, obviously, Faust, EO, that kind of splatter punk, early 90s black and white comics. Huge influence on me and Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg and all of us weird, demented fans of that stuff. Oh, let me show the originals on that. So, you know, you can see, again, my decision making on like what gets grayed out, what gets pushed back. How to pop things, you know, with the gray and the zip. It's fun.
There's a good question there from Adam Archer. He said, have you ever said, Jim, I've gone too far? And that's a good question. Like, we've spoke about stuff that was removed because like it didn't work on the page, but was there anything that you cut story-wise or even in the drawing because you thought it was going a bit far?
Not that I remember, because I knew that I wanted to ride the line of like with the sex stuff, I never show full blown Tim Vigil style like penetration shots. It's all tongue in cheek. And I feel like with the violence, even though it gets brutal, maybe I'm totally sick and warped from watching all these fucked up movies and reading these comics when I was a teenager, but it's not so brutal that I feel like it's off-putting. But big shout out to you, Adam Archer. I love your art and your support, dude. I appreciate you. Everyone should check out Adam's work. I feel like most of you guys in the chat are artists, and I want to say thanks for being here. And I hope that you guys all know each other or get to know each other, because it's cool how the community works that way. After the cop dies, you know, we get these inner reflections of the turmoil existing in the vigilante character of this is just a temporary solution, and evil and crime is never going to come to an end. And it's spreading pain and anguish and torment. And it's just this thing that lights a fire inside of our main character. Like, he's past the point of no return. You know, he's not the Cape Crusader, and he has no one around him to help him or show him the light. And the one guy that he probably would, he just murdered him. So this character's, you know, going off the deep end, and to the point where he has the ability to take the power back, a permanent resolution. It's like, oh shit, where's this going? What is this psycho guy thinking? And before I go further, let me show originals on this page actually have the hand cut zip, just so I know certain areas definitely needed it, definitely needed to know that it would work. This is a real nice one. I dig this. I got this in Japan, but this is like a nice polka dot fade zip. Dig that one a lot. I feel like there's some nice early 90s, almost McFarlane-esque image style, the long, skinny, vertical panel storytelling happening here. And then we just get the earth and almost a moment of silence, a moment of peace before the shit is going to hit the fan, of just the character, but he's reaching out for death. You know, he's reaching out for a skull, and it's like, oh shit. Okay. Where's all this going to go? And I want to show, this is the first attempt for this page, and it's a much different layout, as you guys can see. Like, the idea of the skull, the character, the earth. It started with the skull, a shot of the vigilante being reflective, a shot of him behind the skull. And let me just so all of this, it was going to be black. So the X marks the black. So this is all black. This is all black down here. That'll pop the skull out. This would probably be all black in here. It's suddenly Ink Pulp Live. We have, you know, this explosion coming out of the skull's mouth, going into the earth, and then bats coming out of that as a design element. And obviously all of these elements would be set against black, so it's all popping out at you. But for some reason, I thought this was too convoluted. I didn't like this shape, I think. And so, you know, man, just less is more. It's like, well, why not just keep the big skull, but then just have the character on top of the skull exploding out of it, and we still have the earth and the bats, but we don't really need all the fuss and muss of everything else. And Jamie, this is that big Spawn cape moment. We still get that moment in the book. You remember on the Penguin page, it was a kind of a cool idea, kind of a cool layout, a design element, a dramatic moment for the character. I got to pull that off later in the book. So this did make me happy, realizing I can still have this cape moment.
That's so cool.
You know. So things are ramping up, you guys, and it gets to the point where Street Vigilante is buying, you know, uranium, radioactive material from a bunch of thugs in an alley. One of them is like a crocodile style dude. One of them looks like a silent ninja assassin from a famous G.I. Joseph property of the 80s. Be careful with that shit. A little goes a long way, you dig? And we see the vigilante, you know, constructing some sort of machine. 3 years of planning, you guys. This is the joy and the magic of comics. In one page, we can jump 3 years ahead of time, knowing that he's been spending his money. He's been toiling away at constructing a weapon and a plane to get him into outer space. And I'm sure the keen comic book nerd will observe this skull robot machine is a blatant swipe of Jack Kirby machinery from, I can't remember if it's a Fourth World book, but someone in the chat might know, but that's beyond a swipe, and that's just me like literally redrawing a Kirby device and hooking it up into, like, you know, a big speaker and some other magical instruments. The vigilante is in his ship and engages the computer. The computer puts the rocket, puts the weapon on top of the rocket, the spaceship. And instead of it being a device, it's actually like a living robotic computer. Let me show some originals, because this page, for some reason, was one that I had to, this one worked out the first time. There's the original on that. And then this guy, for some reason, I don't know why, but this took several attempts. There's the final. Let me see. I believe this was attempt 1, where we get a pulled back shot of Vigilante in the cockpit. This bottom panel stays the same. For some reason, I don't know. I remember I slept on this and it just was not working. The perspective was wrong. I realized this hand was going to be getting cut off in the print, you know? So that didn't exactly make sense. Jamie, if I move my mic, am I still good?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Cool. Okay. So, yeah, again, I don't know really why I do this to myself, but I was like, no, let me get it right. I pushed things back a bit, and then what it turned out was this shot of him in the cockpit, it's just not going to work. Like, this is just not going to be what we need to see here. And again, less is more. Just get rid of all of that and break it down and push him down, because I knew that this dialogue was going to happen. And so the spacing of this, it's like, just give that room to breathe. Give this room to breathe and establish, because I mentioned one last look at his city, and then I actually have a shot of the city behind him. So that this less is more approach adds to the reference of, this is his last time seeing his city and basically seeing Earth before he rockets into space to just end everything. You know, it's a dramatic moment. you're probably wondering like, well, Jim, why are you redrawing literally this bottom panel 3 different times? Are you psycho? Just cut and paste that. No, I can't do that because I want the original art to be perfect. I don't want to paste up. That's me being, and I'm not even OCD. I'm not even an OCD person, but that is me being like a OCD thing of like, no paste up on this. The whole piece has to be one. It's got to be all on this original. And it just has to work on the original. I don't know how else to describe it, but he rockets up into the atmosphere and leaves Earth. I had a kind of a funny, like the computer, there's this moment of like the computer warning him like extreme risk factors with life-threatening hazardous materials are at work here, sir. I didn't ask for your opinion, you filthy underling. Understood, sir. It's like the computer has a personality and is for some reason in this one little moment like trying to warn him, like maybe don't do this. And the vigilante's like, you're not gonna tell me to not perform my mission, you know. So we get him leaving the atmosphere. Earth's targeted, locked and loaded. 100% accuracy is guaranteed, you guys. This is a very serious targeting mechanism, very serious computer that he's built for himself. Shot of the Earth, the wing of the ship, the purity of this moment. You know, he has this reflective moment to himself. And this is the only way out. There's only one way out. There's only one way to truly eliminate all crime on the planet. And that's to destroy everything, destroy everyone. It will be worth it. It has to be. And the Earth explodes. This is a fun. This is also a thing you have to figure out. Like, how do you make a sphere with mass appear like it's exploding and breaking apart? The hand-drawn sound effects. Let me show some originals real quick. Check that out. All badass in the cockpit. You get your dramatic close-up. So, boom, far away shot. Boom, close-up, far away, extreme close-up to really seal the deal, right? His final moment, it's like he doesn't have to press the trigger. He doesn't have to do this. This is his final moment of reflection. And it's not going to happen. He's going to go for it. And he's going to do a move that's worthy of a double page spread, guys, of, you know, the Earth explodes. And he looks, you know, it's kind of like, what has he done? He lifts the goggles, 9 billion souls extinguished. And then we almost go into this thing where he turns into the Joker, right? He turns into the bad guy. He's completely snapped now. There's no return for him. There's no redemption. He's the villain now. He laughs maniacally. When I wrote, and I'm not trying to brag about my writing, but when I wrote these phrases, I knew that the book was going to be a winner, and I knew this was the ending. I was like, oh, fuck, dude. He laughs maniacally. The engines ignite. They roar and rumble. A whole galaxy of crime awaits. The planets will quake with terror. The Savage Street Vigilante will stand triumphant. Boom, that's the end of the book. You know what I mean? Like, I knew once I had that, it's all butter, baby. It's all, it's all gold. And this was kind of a fun design element too, where you have, you know, the white carving out the panels here. You have the debris of Earth that sort of turns into a bigger picture idea of death itself, riding along with Savage Street Vigilante, and an idea of the solar system, the cosmos, and his little ship propelling forward. So you have the motion of the debris, and once you go down here, you have this, you have this movement propelling you with a little ship, and then that gets you into your page turn of ending the book on a completely heavy metal, bad as fuck, double page spread. He's in his new gear, his new cosmic savage space vigilante outfit. And this guy is going to go hog wild, cruising through the galaxy, destroying everything in his path. And what is that going to look like? Like, what is going to happen? So this is kind of a fun moment too, of like, there's just a body back here that's being beheaded, and then the head is more in the foreground toward us, the viewer. So he went past this guy and cut that head off, and he's already more forward, and the head has also come more forward toward us, the viewer. And we've got some and to me, these are all evildoers, these are all bad guys. So we've got like some sort of Evil Dead bounty hunter guy kind of right there, and then we've got another guy that he's stepping over here. He's just like, screw this guy. I dig the hand drawn the end, really emphasize that brand new Street Vigilante outfit. And that's the dramatic way that you end your book. Let me show the last of the originals. Oh, and you guys, check this out. So I just kept this in the original art, but this was a decision of, he had skulls in his eyes originally in this shot. And I just thought, it's cool, it's dramatic, but I removed them digitally, and I just thought that this worked better because, again, sometimes less is more. I don't know. I think this is the right choice. You just go with that. So we got that. We got the most metal, which this should probably just be turned into a poster at some point. You don't even have to dig the book. You could just hang a big ass poster of this. I could do like a blacklight version of that. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Jim, I think you've answered it there, but the page on your left there, I asked this because the page on your left is my favorite page in this book with the ha-has. Thank you. Is that page on the right your favorite page in the whole book, or what is your favorite page at the end of it, when you look back?
This is one of my favorites just because I think it works as such a great just standalone image. Like I said, like you don't even have to know the context for it or the book, but I really dig like this kind of shape and just the fact that this is just pure cosmic evil. And I have so many different things that I'm into, but this really appeals to the heavy metal, thrash metal fan inside of me. It just screams like, Iron Maiden or Judas Priest or something like that.
That's so sick.
And that's our final double page spread, the original. This took me 5 days to complete, 4 or 5 days of complete penciling and inking and just really working the shapes, the details, and making it the best, most fun work that I can make. I think that's the whole point of a project like this, right? Like if you're going to do it, just make it the most fun, the most you thing that you can do. Justin Stewart did a killer job designing. I wanted a final page ad that really just covers all the stuff that I'm working on that's available to people. We got the T Public page. You can score, you know, the blatant pimpage, you guys. My God, you can score like mugs and T-shirts, and Chris and I also have our Trash Movie Bonanza stuff over there. Original art, Ink Pulp Live. You guys know where to find us on the Ink Pulp channel on YouTube. My website, you can buy books, prints. You guys all know the deal. I thought this was pretty smart that we did the QR codes where you can just hit these with your phone, and you get the website address, but then you also get the QR for added easiness. And got to end with an ad for the next project, Arachnid Enforcer, available, well, launching, you know, October 1st. I'm always going to do October. That's my plan. October 1st Kickstarter. Pre-launch page is up right now. If you guys don't mind going to that, signing up for the pre-launch. Jamie, that's in the description of the video, correct?
It is so, or it should be.
I think it is. I looked at it before.
I'll double check, but let's just say it is.
Yeah. So if you guys don't mind, hit that for me. And then we end the book on our thank yous. I got a shout out, you know, all my people, they all get a shout out. The book, of course, dedicated with love and respect to the memory of my homeboy, Ed Piskor. I feel like Ed would have loved this book, and I kind of made it, like I said in the beginning of the stream, I made it as a kayfabe book, as a book to promote on kayfabe, and that didn't get to happen, but that's okay. I mean, we're still making comics. We're still all moving forward and honoring that tradition of indie comics, of the, you know, marching orders, make more comics. I'm not stopping. I know you guys ain't stopping. So we just keep this machine moving forward. And for me, the most important thing, man, it's got to be fun. Like, this shit's fun, right? I hope going through the book, it's obvious that I had a fucking blast making this thing. And it was so amazing to get such a response and to get you guys on board for it, to get your support. I greatly appreciate it. That's the last piece of original art. That's the inside back cover there. Little autograph area. Promo stickers for Ink Pulp Live. Shopping list. Call Joey. And guys, that wraps talking about the book. Jamie, do we want to show the Kickstarter stuff or fan art? Because I definitely want to show off the fan art.
Yeah, let's do it. We can do both. What one do you want to do first? Fan art?
You got time to do both?
Yeah, of course. Let's do both.
Let's do the Kickstarter add-ons, and I want to show this real quick just because this was the print set that I did that I offered through the Kickstarter, and these were just direct to ballpoint drawings I did in my sketchbook that related to this universe that I then scanned and added just the blues and the grays. You know, I think that was a nice kind of color palette for these. And these are just, you know, it's like bootleg imagery relating to the vibe and the universe of Savage Street Vigilante. Swamp Crusaders, you guys. Issue 7, 275. Glub. little Glub guy. What's the backstory of the Glub character?
There's so many spin-offs.
Sleeping Dog. What's his story? Cursed Girl, you know. This is more of that like fake ads that I was doing in my sketchbook, like Bloodsucker Tales, Violence Press, Bone Chilling Suspense, $4.95. Last one, The Sexy Ladies of Freak City. And then Jamie, I'll give it to you.
Let's do it. Here we go.
And yeah, man, I'll just go through this real quick. Some of the stuff I did with the Kickstarter, I learned with the Kickstarter. We offered the book, all the variant covers, the print set, original art. And then I went through all my back stock. Like you just saw Carl, the cat that makes peanut butter sandwiches. That's a one-shot comic I wrote and drew back in like 2008. This was my remaining stock of Carl. So that sold out through the Kickstarter. I did hand-drawn custom signature plates, each one of them different on this gray paper. Here's some of the samples of those. Big thanks to everybody who ordered one of these. There's a bunch of them. I sold out of the remaining stock of my Supernaut sketchbook that I produced back in 2018. This was an add-on, as was the Tank Girl sketchbook. These are all gone now. I had this sketchbook for years that I had available at my table at conventions and on my website. But it was some of these things. It's like, it's just time for these to sell out. It's time for these to be done, you know. And then I did the Ballpoint Slayer as well through the Kickstarter. And on the back of the Ballpoint Slayer magazine, I did individual drawings relating to the Street Vigilante universe. So here's some of those originals. Pretty fun. And One Dangerous Donut. This was designed by Yo Matsu, Peach Momoko's husband. And I had this printed in 2019 in Japan on beautiful newsprint. And Yo helped design and coordinate this project for me with the printer in Japan. They came out gorgeous. These are still available on my website, and Ballpoint Slayer Volume 1 and 2 are also still available on my website. This was a piece I did live on Ink Pulp, and this original I gave to Matteo Scalera for the original that he did for the variant cover he did for me. This was a collab that Sean Crystal and I did. Sean penciled the Savage Street Vigilante. I inked it live on one of our streams. You can go to the Ink Pulp page and find that. And then I added all the exterior, outer imagery of all the crazy psychedelic shit.
That's such a cool piece. But that's the end of those ones.
I dig that one. Yeah.
So cool. Shall we move on to the fan art?
Let's do fan art. So you guys, this was the most unexpected part of the whole project, of the whole creating this concept, putting it out in the world, doing a Kickstarter. We got fan art that came in from all over the world for this. Can you go back one, Jamie, to the beginning? Sorry. This is Adam Yojimbo. Brilliant piece. Adam Archer in the house, in the chat. We love Adam. Oh, man. AJ Albuquerque gave me the original of this. I have this hanging up in my studio. This is a brutal piece. I love it so much. Thank you so much, homie. Alejandro Fuentes, absolutely gorgeous work. This guy does his own comics and is just a total genius. He's an overachiever and did like 3 different pieces. So that was the first one. This is the second one. Absolutely brilliant. This is the third one. Jamie, he's writing on a Garfield bat demonic creature.
It's so good.
How metal can you get? Alex David Morris. So badass. BK Artworks. Love it. Oh man, yeah. Cabby 1120. A lot of these are Instagram handles. So you guys make a point of following all these artists. If you guys are in the chat, if you're the real artist in the chat, give us your full name. Some of them I apologize because we just have the IG handles. You know what I mean? God, another one from Cabby 1120. This is fucking incredible. Look at that. CB Comics, CB underscore Comics. This is just ridiculous. Homaging Spawn, of course. And this is Chris Berry, by the way. And I have the original art of this hanging up. It's so flattering, man. Like, what do you even say when someone produces something of this level? These are some details of it. Chris is just a banger, man. I don't know. It's so damn good.
Was this like the biggest surprise of this whole project for you? Was like the amount of fan art that came through for it? Because I remember on the live shows as it was coming in week to week, it was like insane.
Yeah. And dude, the funnest part was like Chris Pierce in the house, comic tropes, baby, trash movie bonanza. Before we go further, I'll say, yeah, man, this was the biggest surprise, but also the most thrilling part of it was as soon as I would get these, I would forward them to you guys, like Sean and Scotty Young and Mike Huddleston and friends of mine, and be like, I'm getting fan art for this crazy ass project that I dreamt up. I'm getting fan art from people all over the world. Like, this is nuts. Like, this idea of Batman with a chainsaw and people just adding their own designs to him or their own costuming, their own weapons. It just became this idea of pure interaction, you know, and there's no set design. So I was always telling people there's no template for him. Just make it your own and go nuts.
That's so cool.
Chernobyl. Really dope. Chiaroscuro, high contrast. CXS underscore creations. I dig it. Oh man. Dom Gomez has been, we've featured his art a lot on Ink Pulp Live. He sent us books. Dom Gomez art, check out on IG. This kid's really good. Making his own indie comics, doing it the right way. Emmanuel Garcia with a really badass Gonzo Stedman-esque sketchbooky kind of piece. Emmanuel Garcia again. Wait, yeah, that's right. Okay. Another crazy Gonzo piece, man. I love the energy. Erwin Papa, the homie. Love it. Long Beach Ink and Drink crew. Check out everything they're doing. You guys have heard me talk about them. Sewer Boys 1 is out. Sewer Boys 2 Kickstarter campaign launches. When did he say in the chat last night, Jamie? May 4th?
May 9th,
early
I
May.
was going to say.
Early May.
Yes.
And this is Erwin. This is Erwin drawing and inking on top of a Sean Crystal drawing that Sean did for Ink Pulp Live.
So good.
I can't remember what character it was. The Hulk? I don't know. Erwin Papa rules. Funny Books and Giggles with the pumpkin knee pads. Love it, man. Ginger Bear underscore house is in the chat. Ginger Bear House Studio. We love you, dude. Love this, man. The brutal splatter. Good. Happy Knuckles. Another really great, loose, energized sketchbook piece. Hilgenfeld. This is great. Those colors are awesome. This is the design too. Look how effective that is. Just pop that blue moon and the bat behind him, and you're good to go. Oh man, I love this so much. Nikolai is an old homie, an ink pulper, a part of our community. ILLUN ICOLAI on Instagram. Ilyu Nikolai. This is IG handle. But man, the drawing here and the colors, just gorgeous on that piece, man. And the lightning bolt behind him. So good. Jamie Filer, our homeboy, Jamie_Filer on Instagram. Love this piece. Jamie's an old friend. I love how big he is. Look at how brutal he is. That's great. Jake_Bostain with the cyborg superhero OMAC destroyer character. He did this for Kayfabe Tober. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jake. Jeremy Heiler in the house, one of our boys, one of our crew, power to the panel. Kayfabe shout out. Definitely check out Jeremy Heiler's work. If you're watching this, I'm sure you know Jeremy, and Jeremy has made how many of his own bootleg Batman comics? Probably 3 or 4 at this point. Check him out, buy his book, support his work. Really appreciate him doing this piece, man. It's great. Oh my God. John Woodard, another old friend of mine. This guy is so badass. Him and his wife write and draw their own triple X-rated comics, very adult porno comics, and they just kickstart them, and they're awesome and hilarious. They're funny, but they're definitely X-rated, and you should check out what he does. He goes by, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to reveal his Instagram. I think I can. It's Master J Wood on Instagram. Why wouldn't he want me to promote his shit? So anyway, I love this piece so much, man. Just the black, white, and red. It's so effective. It's perfect.
It's so good. Kevbot_ADV. You dumb fuck. That bat can't do shit against the chainsaw, which I agree with 100%. So good. Kitty von Lustbaden is an old friend of ours and a regular in the ink pulp community. And this dude's always making his own awesome stuff. We always appreciate his support. He's always in the chats. Killer homage to Dark Knight Returns, right? We got a second one from him as well, with more of the kind of like classic punk skull 80s motif. Lunch Doodle James going hard with it. Look at that grill, man. I was gonna say the beard. I like the beard.
Yeah. Dangerous and deadly. Oh man, Marty Keene. This is our homeboy. Definitely a huge member of our crew. Sent this to me, totally blew my mind. I feel bad because I was trying to figure out how to actually print this in the book. And I just ran out of space because the story ran longer than I planned. But this is so fun and so brilliant. And all the text actually, this is stupid to say, it's obvious to say this, but all the text means something and is full of inside jokes and like, fuck, this is good. Local reporter says, by clerk can't. So good, man. I love it. And before we go on, Alex Fuentes in the chat said, and now we need someone to do a bootleg Savage Street Vigilante comic. That's right. That's right. There's no rules out there, you guys, with this bootleg comic community that's going on out there. Everyone doing their own warped versions of characters that they want to do. Like, I'm not saying anything. There's no rules. So
good idea there from West Coast Dave, saying for Arachnid Enforcer, can we get a tier where we get a Savage Street fan art zine?
Yeah, Dave, I'm glad you brought that up because that is something I want to try and figure out. It's very obvious, but it's like, how do we put all this stuff in print? I think I would need to get higher res files from everyone. And, you know, I mean, obviously I would pay to have that printed, but then do all, you know, all the artists need to get paid? Like, how do I coordinate all that? I feel like that's a question I would have to ask Eli Schwab, who I saw in the chat earlier. Shout out to Eli. But I feel like Eli is kind of the grand champion of being an editor who can oversee projects where there's like 30 different artists involved. I want to do that. It's a great idea. It's just figuring out coordinating that. So, but you guys let me know if you're an artist and we showed off your work. Are you cool with us doing a printed zine of that at some point? Can we see? Oh yeah. And man, nines.ill. I love this one so much. He's homaging. This is so crazy because it works on a meta level. He's homaging a Girl Scouts Magic Socks cover I did that was for Spawn Month, where Rita is spray painting Spawn's face on a wall. And he took Rita and now she's spray painting Savage Street Vigilante. You know, it's perfect. It's so good.
It's so good.
And Carl's in there hanging upside down. It's really empty right here. But this is so good, man. It's perfect. It's really great. Pedro Benalcazar. Am I saying that right? Yeah. .81. This is a crazy piece. This is almost like a throwback to like a weird, almost like 50s style Batman jester kind of character that you would like. It's a modern looking style, but the idea of it is almost like a weird flashback to when Batman was like a fucking weird sci-fi 50s comic book.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Does that make sense? You know, and
I get you. I'm with you.
The chainsaw is almost like a ray gun or something. I don't know. It's badass though.
The cyborg Joker hand at the bottom is cool.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, Plastic Picks. Yeah, this is my homeboy from St. Louis. Shout out. He gave this, or no, wait, he gave Sean some original art at PlanetCon. Did he send? Oh, fuck. I can't remember if he sent me this original. I think he did. This is awesome, though. This is so great. Look at the amount of spattering of the ink just in his outfit. And it just looks great, man. Thank you so much. Shout out to Plastic Picks. Oh, Kiki.comics. This is the homegirl. She's usually in our chats. Her art's awesome. We follow each other on Instagram. This was a crazy piece just because I love the perspective on it and that chainsaw and the weird, crazy helmet going on there with the goggles. Really badass, man. Raz, our homeboy from Atlanta. Good friends with Sean. Good friends with the Ink Pulp community. This is super badass. What else do you want? This is almost like Mad Magazine style illustration. Like, you know, I don't know. I love it. I
feel bad. I think I've fucked up Raz's username on the top left there. I think it's Raz City. I think there's meant to be a Y in there.
Oh, is that right?
I think so. That's my fault if it is. Check out Raz's Instagram though.
Okay. Well, we can correct that in a comment after the video goes up or whatever. This one is super badass. Renee Allen Art on Instagram. Just vicious, man. This one came in October when we were in New York for New York Comic Con, and I was walking through the streets with Sean and Mateo, and I saw this in my DMs on Instagram, and I flipped out on the streets of New York. I was like, you guys, oh fuck, you got to check this out. And I was handing my phone to everybody, and everyone's like, holy shit, like what? You've just got people you don't even know rocking fan art of this weird book that you're doing. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Sam McClurg, one of our homies in the ink pulp community, also currently putting together or already put together an ink pulp style comic book anthology, right? So support Sam's work. Sam is always in the Discord, the ink pulp Discord. Make sure you guys check out our Patreon for ink pulp and the Discord, because that spot, the Discord, I try and check out every day if I can. That's its own separate community now of just badass artists making their own comics. It's so inspiring. Oh, Sam's here. Sam, what up? It's so inspiring to see like all these people doing their own thing, right, Jamie? Like you see it every day.
Good. Yeah. The art share segment in that Discord is worth a scroll for sure. There's some amazing stuff in there.
Yeah, it's great. Simon Mallier St. Pierre, if I'm saying that right. This also came to me when I was in New York, and I flipped out when I saw it. I mean, this one I probably should have just used as one of the variant covers, but I already had all that stuff set up. Classic Dark Knight Returns, obviously homage to the cover of issue 1. Gorgeous piece here. He flipped it. Instead of blue, it's red. And it's Savage Street Vigilante, and he's got a chainsaw. Come on, guys.
So good.
Unbelievable. 6'6" art. New fan art piece he did for me. Everybody tagged me. I got to see everything. This is awesome. Love the high contrast. Love the psycho look on his face. Super badass. SKLCRN. Skulkern. This one's awesome because he's replaced Savage Street Vigilante's daughter with me in the throne, but still put her in the piece and the little kid and Savage Street Vigilante in the background. So I get to have my own appearance in the piece, man. This is great.
You're canon in the book now.
I'm in the book. Kyle Andrews producing a wicked, metal-inspired, demonic gargoyle Savage Street Vigilante. So badass, right? I love that.
So good.
It's great. Steve Coffin, one of our old homies, always showing support for Ink Pulp, part of the Ink Pulp community. We love Steve. Steve sent in his own comics to us, which we showcased on a past episode of Ink Pulp Live. Steve, if you're in the chat tonight, please give us a shout out and let us know where you can, where we can score your books. But I believe Steve is just at Steve Coffin on IG. And I love this piece. I mean, there's a beheaded character staring at a hot girl. What more do you want? Steve Hagginson. If I'm butchering people's names, I apologize. I have been up since the wee hours in the morning, and I've been drawing all day, and this stream has been awesome, man. I've been having a blast. This is a badass piece. Thank you, Steve. Oh my God. Strange Things Mossy. Brian Christopher Moss in the house. I love this piece. This is pure gonzo. Stedman mixed with Brian's warped freestyle expressionist way of making art. Obviously, you guys all know Power to the Panel. Brian literally live streams every single day of the week. He's building his own community. He's got great group of people over there. Basically, all of us know each other and all of us support each other, which is the way it should be. And Brian is just a homeboy, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in person. at the Eddie P Con in September in Pittsburgh. I'll be there, you guys. If you can show up, show up. Come through, bring your comics that you've made. The Roja Kova fan art, Savage Street Vigilante, with the pentagram logo on the handle of the blade there, Jamie. Check that out.
That's so cool.
Badass. Oh my God. The martial arts. This is our homegirl. It's Lauren Marshall is her first name, right?
Yep.
Jamie?
That's correct.
Well, I'm not going to say what she sent in because she sent in some secret art for us recently. But the point is, Lauren Marshall is fucking badass. You guys should all follow her. And this piece is ridiculous and incredible and should have been a variant cover. This is what I was talking about earlier in the stream, figuring out how to deconstruct anatomy. Like that face and head split open is so well done. That's much harder than it looks, figuring out how to do that kind of drawing. It's fucking brutal. It's so awesome. I love it. Again, I'm a sick person. Jazzy Jamie Wood, also a sick person. We love it.
True. I feel like that's been this whole fan art section is just been you realizing there could have been 50 different variant covers from this stuff.
Oh my God. I know. Tunes track art. Badass sketchbook piece. Look at that. Straight from the sketchbook. High contrast action. Got the chainsaw over the shoulder. Super badass. Oh man. Is this the last one?
This is the last one.
Did we end on a big finale? One of my oldest and dearest friends. I love this man. Troy Nixie. I met in 1998 at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm sure you guys all know Troy's work. He's been around forever. Did Bill the Clown as a bootleg black and white outlaw comic at Slave Labor Graphics in the late 80s. And Troy's been around forever. He's always got new work coming out. He has a new project with a big writer that I don't think I can say. It hasn't been announced yet. But Troy just sent this to me and sent me the original art. And this was so sweet of him to show support for the Kickstarter. I love it. It's the Cyborg Superior Man. What a great way to end the show. Jamie, what can we say? We've covered it all, right? I'm looking around.
I think
we've done it. We've covered it all. I will, and I want to say thank you to all those artists that did the fan art. Thank you to all the homies in the live chat. I was so distracted with all this. I apologize for not paying a lot of attention to the live chat, but Jamie, I think you got most of the questions.
I did indeed. There was a lot of love in there for the book throughout, so you'll have fun reading those comments back.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing this with me, buddy. And I do want to announce, we mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, I want to start doing these on a somewhat regular basis to offset the weeks that we don't do Ink Pulp Live. I would like to do one of these. And I haven't told Jamie about this yet, but I'm grabbing something. The next one I have planned, haven't figured out the date for it yet. Jamie and I will figure that out. We'll announce it on social and on Ink Pulp Live. Guys, the next one of this, 30 years of Girl Scout comics.
Yes.
30 years ago in 1995, I self-published these 2 books. We're going to go through them on the next stream. I still have all the original art for these. We're going to look at the original art, and I'm going to do a basic overview of the entire Girl Scouts world and universe and show off all the different iterations of them and the different books I've done with them. And we'll look at some of the promo videos we've made for Girl Scouts, but that's the next stream. If you guys can do me a favor, if you haven't already done it, like, subscribe, check out the past videos. Cruise over to my website, jimmahfood.com, sign up for my newsletter. You'll get email blasts letting you know the times and dates of all this. You guys rock so hard. Thanks so much for being here with us. Jamie, thank you again. And I think we're done, and we'll end it there.